The Chicago Bulls got themselves a victory in their second preseason game in a rematch versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And throughout that game, I noticed Noa Essengue in just his 17 minutes of play. So on today's episode, I'm going to talk about how Noa Essengue could possibly speed up his timeline to enter the Chicago Bulls rotation. And then the NBA released its latest GM poll where the Chicago Bulls received no mention anywhere. Y'all know we gonna talk about it, break it all down, but you gotta hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shot Boys podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another daily episode. So if you're tuned in, and go ahead and ready to talk Chicago Bulls basketball, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, man. Look, the Chicago Bulls pulled off another victory in the preseason, this time over the Cleveland Cavaliers again, in a 119-112 victory, to where we are able to give out some good pointers and some things that we are able to, evaluate to say that the Chicago Bulls need to work on a little bit more. Now we've seen guys like Isaac Okoro, who did not necessarily fill up the stat sheet too much, but you've seen him go out there and do a number of things on the defensive side of the ball, with getting 3 steals on the day and only had 6 points, and then kind of struggled a little bit shooting from the field and the 3-point line. And then you've seen other guys like Trey Jones go out there in 24 minutes, have a really solid performance with 10 points, 4 steals, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, went 4 or 5 from the field and 2 for 2 from the 3. So really good night for Trey Jones as well, who was placed in that starting lineup alongside guys like Josh Giddey, Isaac Okoro, Montes Buzelis, and Zach Collins. And Montes Buzelis, that was one of those games to where Montes Buzelis did not have the greatest performance, but I still think that he had some, flashes, some glimpses of what, his second year will look like, and how he has to continue to work on his game and understand where he needs to be, how effective he needs to be. And at some point, we seen him get cussed out by Billy Donovan and receive some hard coaching. And that's what my man's Montes Buzelis wanted. And it was absolutely necessary, because you see Montes Buzelis kind of lack that aggressiveness that we wanted to see out of him throughout this game. So we look at that and we say, okay, cool. I'm happy that the coaching staff is getting on his ass and letting them know, hey, we need a better performance out of you, and this is what you asked for. This is how you want to be coached. So I'm all for it, for holding Montes Buzelis to that standard. And then you've seen other guys come in off the bench. Noa Essengue, Ayo Dosumu, my God, 22 minutes, bro. 16 points. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 6 of 14 from the field, 1 of 4 from the 3. And Ayo Dosumu this upcoming season is going to be a man on a mission. So y'all get ready for that. But I really want to focus on Noa Essengue on today's episode. Noa Essengue only played 17 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Only had 2 points, only had a rebound, 2 assists, went over from the field and the 3, but definitely got to the free throw line and shot 2 of 4 at the charity strike. Now, the reason I want to talk about Noa Essengue is because I think that he has an opportunity to speed up his timeline and into the Chicago Bulls rotation. Last game, we see Noa Essengue come in and pretty much, not be. He came out in the last game and was impactful without the basketball. And the same thing can be said for this game, that in the rematch versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and say that, hey, he performed pretty damn well in the time that he was given. And I think that the way he's going to be able to speed up the timeline is not only because he is a rookie and we want him to go out there and succeed, is because he's going to bring that size necessary to be on the basketball court. He's going to be able to do things off ball. But the number one thing that we keep noticing while watching Noa Essengue is that he is able to draw fouls. I know it's only 4, attempts at the foul strike, But I think that is huge for him. And then we seen Javon Carter kind of go on a heater when he was inserted into the game. And Noah Essengue opened up a lot of things for Javon Carter, giving him good passes, being able to set screens for him, being able to be a presence on the defensive side of the ball, being able to open things up for his teammates. Yes, you want to see more of a scoring output from the painted area. Yes, you want to be able to see him knock down his threes a little bit more. But I think one thing that you cannot disregard is his young ability to get to the foul line. And I think that is huge for a young player to get himself comfortable, to get himself acclimated with the Chicago Bulls and the feel of the NBA. And we know that the developmental plan for Noah Essengue is going to be going to the Windy City Bulls and then coming with the main team throughout the entire season, or at least at least my expectations, at least from the start of the season to sometime in January, kind of like the Montes Buzelis type of plan. I think that he has an opportunity to speed up that timeline, and because you cannot deny what this young fella is able to do while working off the ball. He understands where he needs to be. He understands his body. He understands how he can have an impact on the game with, changing the shot of his the offensive player that he is defending. He can do a number of things and give the Chicago Bulls an opportunity. I think that the Chicago Bulls might be sticking to their plan. And I think that, again, I think that timeline is going to be from the start of the season to about January, where they inserted Montes Buzelis into the starting lineup, for real, or at least in the rotation. I think that's kind of like the plan that's placed out for Noah Essengue. But again, he does so many things that you can look at and be like, okay, yes, we can work on this. We can critique a few things within his game and get him ready as a young 18-year-old to play NBA basketball. So I think that he has a lot of things that is readily available to you that you can utilize, especially if you don't see more production out of a Dalen Terry, don't see more production out of a Julian Phillips, struggle to deal with the Patrick Williams a little bit. And Patrick Williams, just off topic real quick, Patrick Williams, they not playing with his ass. And I love it. Don't play with him. I get it that he making $18 million a year. I get it that he's the fourth overall pick in the draft years ago. We don't really care about that right now. We need to be putting the best players out there to win basketball games and give ourselves an opportunity to shock the world. To shock the world. And I would say Noah Essengue is a challenger up in that fight. And I think that he has an opportunity to bring something to the Chicago Bulls team, not only in size, not only in what he can do offensively, but what he can do defensively. And I think that you have to respect someone's aggressiveness and ability to get to the foul line. That is the starting point for him. And I think you can build off that to allow him to come along well. And nobody is saying he has to go out there and play 30 minutes a night and at this point of his young career. But the 17 minutes that you gave him, you asked me, they was a bit more impactful than some of the other guys that's been around for a while. Even though sometimes the stat sheet might say something different, if you take some time and you look at the game, you might be able to look at some of those instances to where, hey, we need to fight back into a game. How do you fight back into certain games? By getting to the foul line, by being able to defend, by being able to get some rebounds for your other guys, by being able to get in the passing lane to generate steals. I think Noah Essengue has all that available for the Chicago Bulls as long as he follows the developmental plan that they have placed in front of him. And I think he's doing pretty damn well. Obviously, he still has a long way to go before we can go ahead and say, yes, he's ready. But I'm not opposed to giving him some more opportunities to see where this whole thing can shape out for Noah Essengue. I'll keep it real with you all. I think that he has the type of game. He doesn't need the ball. He can move well. He understands where he needs to be. You could see him take it off the dribble a couple times. You could see him take shots. So obviously, you just want to see him get more comfortable in those areas. But I think Noa Essengue has a really strong chance of speeding up his timeline and entering the Chicago Bulls rotation as long as this young fella continues to put his head down and put in the work. And while the game was going on, Casey Johnson said that he spoke with Noa Essengue and talked about going from the NBA team to the G League team. And Noa Essengue said that he's fine with it because when he played overseas, while he was working with that team that he was playing with overseas, he will go back and forth from the main team and what they call their junior team. So this is not unfamiliar territory. He's pretty much familiar with this type of territory. And while he was overseas, he worked himself into being a part of that main rotation down the stretch for that team that he played for overseas. And the same thing is what I'm expecting for the Chicago Bulls. I don't know. I told y'all my anticipated timeline for Noa Essengue is sometime in January to have full autonomy in, the rotation. But I think he could possibly speed it up if we see guys not live up to the standard that is being set by the Chicago Bulls coaching staff. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think Noa Essengue will be able to speed up his timeline to enter the Chicago Bulls rotation? Let me know in the comment box. Now, before we get up out of here, we got to talk about the Chicago Bulls not getting a mention in the latest GM poll. Hey, the NBA released their latest GM poll to where the Chicago Bulls didn't receive a player in the poll, didn't receive a coach in the poll, a head coach at least. That Wes Unseld was mentioned, but that's about it. And this is the way I look at it. Who cares? Look, I understand that we always want to have some type of player or coach to be recognized within something, but the Chicago Bulls, excuse me, but the Chicago Bulls, they have not earned that. So how do you go out and earn that? Change the narrative, change the norm, go win some basketball games, develop some of these young players, go be and play hard defense like you've been preaching this whole entire training camp. Go out there and go out and beat up on some teams or pull out some close victories to where people have you penciled in as a loss. Go out there and stack wins. Go out there and be better. That's just what it is. I'm not one of those guys that be like, see, we can't even get the Chicago Bulls coaches mentioned in the latest GM poll. I don't really care. That's just me. I know and I understand what the state of my team is. I understand that. Yes, Billy Donovan is now a Hall of Fame head coach. Yes, we have Wes Unseld. Yes, we have a bunch of young players. But hey, none of that really matters if we're not winning. If the way that you go out there and get on these polls, get on these lists, and insert yourself into different conversations for accolades is winning. And in Chicago, we want to win. So I have no problem with this because we ain't been winning. We haven't been winning. So I really don't care. It is what it is at this particular moment. I feel no way about it. Did I look at the list? All right, it is what it is. You can name whoever the hell you want to name. I don't care. The way that the Chicago Bulls can insert themselves into these conversations is by winning. Go out there and win. I have no problem with nobody mentioning the Chicago Bulls. Does that mean that, you know what I'm saying? Does that mean I don't want to be? No. I want to be mentioned in some of these conversations, but guess what? A lot of people that's been mentioned in conversations, they ain't did shit either. You know what I'm saying? I want us to win. I want us to win basketball games. I want us to be better than what we have seen the last few years. That's what matters to me. I don't care about no damn poll or no list of who GMs like. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care about that. Last year, we say Monty Buzelis be listed as one of those players that could be be one of the best players or the rookie of his class, be the best in the next 5 years. That was cool to see. But, hey, guess what? I need Monty Buzelis to go out there and show development on the basketball court. I need Monty Buzelis to go out there and not only have the mentality of being great, but go show me that you want to be great. That's the type of mentality that I have moving on for Chicago Bulls basketball. Ain't none of that. We gonna make ourselves feel good award shit. We need wins. That's just how I look at it. So if the Chicago Bulls are not being mentioned in any GM polls, it doesn't say anything to me except we need to win. That's it. That's it. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Before y'all get up out of here, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all over here. Make sure you go ahead and see Red. And if you want to call in and be a part of the mailbag episode, call in, state your name, leave your take. The lines are open. We want to hear your thoughts on the first 2 preseason games. The number to do so is 773-242-9219. We appreciate y'all, and y'all already know. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, for sure.
Cognac. Gang.